If you're in the market for a sports car, meaning that you are 40 to 50 middle aged and contemplating on buying your first sports car, you actually have affordable sports car. So that means no Porsches, no GTRs, no Ferraris, normal plain Jane Japanese sports car. You have two choices: Toyota 86 or Mazda Miata. And I will tell you right now, the correct choice is to buy is a Mazda Miata. Now, there are a couple of reasons for that. Uh, Sports car, by definition, by the classic definition, means two doors, two seats. Means small, rear-wheel drive, manual transmission. The Miata is the one that fits all of these criteria. The 86 actually is a four-seater, bigger than a Miata, although it has both matic and manual transmission. But again, the Miata is the one that is the quintessential Japanese sports car. And if you compare with the old 86, they both have 2-liter engines. This one, there's a RF ND1 and ND2. ND1 is 16 to 19, ND2 is all the way up. Of course, the later models have more horsepower. I think 20 horse more from the same engine. And yeah, yes, Mazda Miata. The whole reason why you want two seats is because you and somebody else. You're not supposed to bring your kids. You're not supposed to bring anybody else. It's just basically you in the car. Don't bother bringing the wife either or the girlfriend. It's not a family car, so you have no reason why you need four seats. And besides, if you're gonna buy a sports car, that means you 1,000% sure you either have a normal four-seater car, you have an SUV, you have a pickup. That's why you can afford one of these things. And if you want more power performance, that's why we're here. That's what we're gonna do with this Miata right now. Car came in, we're gonna be doing the whole thing. So intake, full exhaust with headers, and then ECU remap. So here we have it now. This is the intake, so we're gonna change out this to a cone type intake. And no, it will not suck in hot air from the engine because most people, including you, don't understand that the air underneath here in the car is not constant. There's airflow going through it. There's airflow actually going through the engine. And what is hot for you, the human, say 40 degrees, which is actually what the, if you take the reading from this one, the match airflow sensor, if we plug it into our diagnostic, it will show us the actual air temperature it's reading. It's 40 degrees. Well, normally, so right now, it's probably around 45, 46. There's nothing we can do about that. So what's hot for you, the human, is not hot for the engine at all. 45 degrees, by no means, and 40 degrees is not hot. And then the exhaust starts from here. This is where the stock header is. So we're going to remove this one here. That's the heat shield. Once we remove it, we'll change it with a long tube 4-1 stainless header. Yes, both O2 sensors have to go back. There's a primary and a secondary one. If those don't go back, they'll throw a check engine. And we'll do a full exhaust to the back. Then we'll end it up with a Tanabe medallion muffler. And of course, we're going to do ECU remap also. This one can be remapped through the OBD. No need to take off the ECU. We've done several of these things before, and from past experience, we know that it'll make 16 to 20, maybe 23 horses more on the previous ND1 we did. So this is also, I think, an ND1. Yeah, there's an ND1 Miata. So after everything, we'll make it catch up to the ND2 horsepower and maybe a little bit more. All right, we have our stock header out. So this is the stock Miata header. This is the primary runner. This is the secondary runner. This is the catalytic converter. So no, there will be no more cat converter once we put in the header. This slot is for the O2 sensor. So that's the primary sensor. There's a secondary sensor towards here, towards the back. So those two things have to go back. If you'll notice that technically this thing is a 4-2-1 design. So it's 4 and then 2. Yeah, 4, then 2, then 1. Now the reason why it's done this way is for packaging reasons mainly, and some performance, because if we do it in a 4-1 design, like we say in other cars like a Vios, they will have to cram all 4 tubes to this collector here, and this collector cannot be no more bigger than this. So there's already 2 tubes here. Imagine another 2 tubes here going to the catalytic. So packaging wise, that's not gonna work. So pretty much this is what's gonna happen. If you do a 4-1 design, you're gonna have another 2 tubes here like that. So it will effectively double the size of the catalytic converter from the inlet, and the body will have to be bigger too. Then there will be no space for the O2 sensor anymore, as if you stick it here, this will hit the chassis. So that's the reason why it's 4-2-1. It's for packaging reasons. And performance also, because if you try to, you can actually try to cram 4 tubes in here, you'll effectively scrunch all 4 tubes together, creating more restriction. So that's why it's not done. But on our header, what we will have is a 4-tube long header design 4-1, where all the 4 tubes are longer. It will end here. We have a lot more space here towards the flange, and we don't have the catalytic converter to worry about anymore, and we don't have to worry about the oxygen sensor. So that's why we're able to make all 4 tubes equal in length, and that is the one that's the best for performance. This is done as a compromise, performance package plus packaging. So that's the reason why. These are the headers for the 2-liter Sky Active Miata. So it's a 4-1 design. No, it's only 4-1. It cannot be 4-2-1. Don't even bother explaining why. But 4-1 is the best design for this engine. That 4-1 versus 4-2-1 debate is as old as time itself, and only actually applies to old engines, particularly Honda engines. So if you Google that now, 4-1 versus 4-2-1, read through what comes out in the search results, and more importantly, read which website they're referencing to. I 1000% guarantee that the first page will all be in some Honda forum in one way or the other. So, and specifically, it's only for the B series and D series engines, nothing else. So, nothing you research will help you determine what's the best configuration for your car. And well, how do we know this is the best configuration for this car? Simple. We have a dyno, and then this design is the one that made the most power. So, headers alone on the Miata is 6 to 8 horses more, without tuning, without doing no nothing. So, just by putting this in, you'll get an instant 6 to 8 horsepower. It's a long tube design. Well, long-ish. Long-ish. Uh, this is already considered long. Let me bring out a old Miata header. Then we'll try to compare. Well, this is old first generation 1988 Miata header. Yes, it might be longer, but that's not what makes it long. It's actually on the other opposite side of the engine as well. So, but if you look at this section here, which is our new Miata header section, put it out like that, where it meets, where it terminates, are pretty much at the same location actually, here. So this one pipe doesn't matter anymore. The only reason why it's like this is because the old Miata has a flange here towards the middle of the car. The newest Miata, the only place where you can have a bolt on is here, where the stock header ends, and then the pipe going from here all the way to the back is one entire piece. The old Miata is actually a 2-piece header. There's one section here, then another section here. But again, it's long. It's already longer compared to stock. So again, if you line it up, they're pretty close to each other, where it terminates into one collector. So it's only about that long of a pipe. And that's the only reason why we can't do a proper 4-to-1 longer tube headers, because if you want to keep it a bolt on, it has to end here. If you really want a custom 4-to-1 header, we can make you one, but you have to get the rest of the exhaust along with it, because we have to make the mid pipe also. So we're gonna be extending this part, this flange here. We can extend it all maybe up to here, so we can have it a bit longer. But that it tells you again, either we cut the stock pipe or we make a whole new mid pipe for you. So it's your choice, and it will take more time to do it. Power wise, my guess would be maybe another 3, 4 horses on top of whatever this length of a header makes. So again, if you have a Miata and you want to experiment on what a 421 long tube header is, you're more than welcome to come. And also something about this Miata header, this first generation one, if you install this alone, there's no power gain. This needs tuning because I think this is a copy of a Racing Beat header, and then it's far removed from their website, but there's an asterisk and everything. Needs tuning. There's always an asterisk with these things. And this back then in the day is not 50 state legal because it gets rid of the catalytic converter. So this is a race only header that requires tuning for it to make power. So for the first gen Miata, we use unit chip to tune it because that's the only thing left available to be able to tune it. Back in the day, there was Link, there was uh, TEC, you have the SAFC also and ITC, all of which are all dead. So only unit chip is the only thing that can tune the first generation Miata now. So the NA and the NB. And about 40 years, yeah, 40 years apart of Miata engineering right here. Okay, you can plug it in. This is where I'm This is where I mean where the stock flange hinges, the stock there's there. This one, this is still the stock header over here. So this is the flange here. This is where the pipe goes. So there's again, there's one piece all the way to the back. There's no more joint that we can remove. So this is the thing that limits our header to become a bolt-on. So because again, you can run the header with the stock pipe. You don't have to change this pipe. It will work with the stock pipe with a stock muffler. So to make it a bolt-on, it really has to be. This is the physical limitation of it. So from here up to the engine itself, that's the length of the header. Cannot be longer, cannot be here, cannot be here, cannot be here. Remember all my reasons of listing why you should buy a Miata over a Toyota 86? Well, this is the biggest reason why you should. Transform! You don't get that with the Toyota 86. True convertible sports car, open top. Well, with that party trick out of the way, so we're done with the intake and exhaust, so we're putting it on the dyno again. Then we're gonna do another baseline, see how much power the intake and exhaust adds. Then we're gonna plug in the laptop and load our tune, and we'll get a final horsepower to see how much do the three things make: intake, exhaust, and ECU remap. Alright, successfully done. Our Miata with intake, full exhaust, and SpeedLab ECU remap final results. So let's explain what they are. Red and green line is our baseline. So this is what it is before no nothing, as in all stock. So we're around 120 horse. So again, this is an ND1. If it's an ND2, this should be higher by about 15-20 horses. Yellow line here, this is a combination of intake and exhaust. So average wise, this is from 120 to 130. It's about 15 horses right there. So let's just put everything at about 10 horses, the 10 horse total gain, intake and exhaust. Then this purple line is after remapping. So we went from 130 to, oh, so close, almost 20 horses, 150. We're at 148 actually, so 18 horses. Total, if you want to compute it from stock, so we went from 120 to 140, so very close, almost 30 horses gain. Torque wise, we also went from 165 to 210. 40 Newton meters is not bad, but the biggest gain is actually here at 4,000 RPM, which is kind of like our ideal shift point. Instead of flat here and then dipping again, we went from 160 to 210, so that's about 50 Newton meters right there. So basically, we made a perfect sports car even more perfect. So this guy should be happy with the additional 30 horses. Just for reference, with everything done, this horsepower level, this actually exceeds what a stock ND2 Miata does. Just for reference, in case you're not one with an ND2 Miata, you have a ND1, yes, we can do something about it, and yes, it'll make big horsepower from it.